this is the question too. What happens when you just start taxing the mining industry? The 6,000% increase in taxes per kilowatt hour of energy may ultimately destroy the industry in the country. Sweden, the last remaining stronghold of Bitcoin miners in Europe, is abolishing tax incentives for data centers in July, potentially putting the last nail in the coffin for the industry in the region. Energy prices in Europe have spiked in the past year, largely in part due to the war in Ukraine, driving out Bitcoin miners. The northernmost regions of Norway and Sweden were some of the last areas where the industry was still profitable and operating, although the crowd had thinned out, as they offer an ideal environment for data centers, cool and home to cheap hydroelectricity. But not even these remote parts of Europe remained unaffected from the energy crisis, which caused prices to increase and some miners to turn off their operations, at least partly in 2022. Energy prices started to normalize in 2023, but the upcoming tax will likely stop any new investment in Sweden, which is currently home to about 150 megawatts of mining. The tax will increase from SEK 0.006 to SEK 0.36 per kilowatt hour starting July of this year, according to the financial budget published in November of 2022. Based on the average electricity prices last year, the tax hike could bring the all-in energy cost to 9.3 cents US per kilowatt hour, which actually is still probably sustainable. I think in any first world country, this is probably going to end up being like a pretty common average price for commercial power. The question will be like, how many miners move to more friendly areas for this, right? And what are those friendly areas, and what are we looking at? This was from a senior analyst at mining services firm Luxor Technologies. A MicroBT WhatsMiner M30S, a moderately efficient and commonly used machine, would be at break-even point given the current market conditions, he said. Hive Blockchain, a Canada-based miner with 25% of its energy capacity in Sweden as of the end of 2022, declined to comment on this story. CoinDesk couldn't find any instance where Hive disclosed the tax explicitly in any of its filings. Here's the thing, though, that will be funny. If you're just taxing people in fiat currency, which eventually becomes useless, then it won't matter. A thought I had run through my head. The firm has discussed its disagreement with Swedish tax authorities over $32.4 million in VAT that it thinks it should recover. Norway, which hosts 250 to 300 megawatts of mining, also increased its taxes from 0.0086 cents to 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour in January, said Mellerud. Not all hope is lost for Norway, as its energy is overall cheaper and the tax hike is more modest, Mellerud said. The industry will continue developing there, said Dennis Rosinovich, co-founder of mining consulting firm Cryptocurrency Mining Group.
Established in 2017, Octominer is an international mining hardware company. They manufacture and engineer the best mining equipment in the industry and supply rigs to some of the largest mining farms around the world. Their GPU mining rigs also integrate with the top crypto operating systems like Hive OS, MinerStat, and Simple Mining. All parts come with an international 1-year warranty. Exciting news! They will be adding ASIC miners for sale to their website soon and launching a new product built specifically for ASIC home miners. Please visit octominer.com or email support@octominer.com for questions.
Sweden's tax hike makes mining in the region prohibitively expensive in Sweden and could ultimately destroy the industry, said Mellerud, so Bitcoin miners are looking for solutions. Many miners are looking to diversify elsewhere, as the new tax will drastically reduce their profitability, said Enerhash CEO Daniel Jog, who operates a site in Sweden. The tax also requires companies to pay in advance for a few months, which creates some serious cash constraints at a difficult time in the industry, he said. Some miners could try to get through the tax hike by switching to self-mining instead of hosting others' machines, said Rusanovich. Others are looking at ways to get around the tax by reusing the heat produced in the data centers, such that they are taxed as heat producers, Mellerud said. Those packing up are also facing an uphill battle, said Rusanovich. The market of potential buyers has completely dried up, and there are only less than a handful of real buyers left. It is unclear whether Sweden's new taxes were intended towards miners or the entire data center industry. The tax hike was proposed by the Swedish Ministry of Finance, which was also pushing for a ban on Bitcoin mining in the European Union last year, Mellerud pointed out. I mean, you stated that it's unclear and then made it clear, right? Quote, this could be viewed as an attack on Bitcoin mining, he said. In 2017, Sweden enacted a 98% tax cut for data centers looking to attract businesses. 4 years later, the industry hasn't created the jobs the country was hoping for, and the macroeconomic environment has changed, said the budget report. The energy crisis has increased electricity rates for households, and the tax cuts currently in place might actually be taking away energy from other more job-creating industries in the manufacturing sector, said the budget. Miners are disappointed by how the tax hike rolled out, with what seemed like little notice or communication. Firms like Hive tout Sweden as a stable jurisdiction where they don't worry about abrupt unilateral changes in the regulatory regime. Microsoft, which also operates data centers in the region, has protested the measure's abruptness, particularly given that the government had commissioned a report on the energy impact of data centers that wasn't finished at the time of the tax hike decision, according to the budget. There has been no official communication to the Bitcoin miners active in the region, only a page on the tax authority's website that was updated to show the change, said Rusanovich. That, plus the fact that the tax will be implemented in the middle of the calendar year, making it hard to plan ahead, has rubbed miners the wrong way. Companies can request a refund for any taxes levied before the start of July, a spokesperson of the Swedish tax agency said. I mean, what we are seeing, obviously, is taxes being aimed towards cryptocurrency in general. It's interesting that Microsoft is, basically operating a data center there and is going to push back on this. What will be most interesting is if we see them rewrite that in favor of data centers, similar to what Washington State did, and specifically target cryptocurrency mining for the tax hike. I would presume that's probably something along the lines of what we see as we watch this story develop. And of course, we'll cover it on the Bitcoin Mining Show every Friday evening. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.